I'm Lusine, an English teacher with nearly 10 years experience. I have not only local but also international experience, as I taught in one of the schools of Spain. So during our today's webinar, we are going to talk about some books, some links, and an app which will make our lesson more effective. The first book that I'm going to talk about is 700 Classroom Activities, which includes 4 sections: conversation, functions, grammar, vocabulary. By the way, all these resources, books, you are going to have after this webinar. So we are going to send all these resources, materials to your emails that you have already provided in your application form. This book offers us a wide range of activities which will keep our class interesting. Let's take a look at each section of this book and understand what kind of activities we can implement in our class. From the conversation section, we can take a class contract activity. This activity usually we can implement at the beginning of the first semester during our first lesson. We can divide our class into small groups and then ask students to write about their duties and the teacher's duties. At the end, they have to compare their lists with other groups, and it should be like this. It means that, for example, they have to overcome and summarize all 10 duties onto one page, and they have to write about students' duties, what students must do, and what teachers must do. For example, students must arrive on time, or teachers must correct written work within a week. By the way, dear participants, you can also write what teachers must do or what students must do. And in the chat box, you can write in the chat box, and of course, while you are typing, what ideas do you have that what students must do or what teachers must do? While you are typing, I can jump to another section. From the function section, we can focus my neighborhood activity. Here, it suggests us to implement this activity in pairs, but I think we can implement this activity individually because we can give our students a chance to enhance their speaking skills. First of all, they have to draw a map about their neighborhood, and then they have to talk about their neighborhood. For example, they can say there is a train station around the corner, it's about a 3-minute walk, and they can use the vocabulary below the map. You see there are some vocabulary, such as bakery, bus stop, newsagent. As I see, responsible, be punctual. Yes, good point. I agree. Now let's continue another activity that we are going to discuss. From the grammar part, we are going to focus on conjunctions. Here we can use different kinds of conjunctions such as that, so, because, and I think this kind of activity, expanding sentences, maybe you have already implemented in your class because it's very popular. And if a student forgets a sentence, that student is out of the game. This kind of activity helps us and our students to use their imagination and to generate new ideas. So first of all, teacher starts and says, I had a dog, and the other student should continue, such as I had a dog, but he died. I had a dog, but he died, so I bought a cat, and so on. Before going to the vocabulary section, first of all, we have to introduce the vocabulary. For example, I have taken feelings vocabulary. By the way, feelings vocabulary we can introduce with the help of emojis because our students love to text and chat, and they love to use emojis. And after learning this feelings vocabulary, such as they know what it means, I'm disappointed, I'm confused, I'm friendly. And after learning this vocabulary, we can implement this activity from the vocabulary section of this book. You see, there are some expressions. These expressions we can write on the board. We can say scare you, depress you, amuse you, shock you, bore you. And then we can divide our class into small groups. Each group has to think of a time when they felt one of these emotions, and then they have to make a speech and talk about these emotions. Now let's jump to another book, Games for Grammar Practice. This book covers all of the main grammar topics in English. And let's take a look at this example. Sweet Memories from Unit 2, which focuses on the past simple. As you can see on the left side of this book, of this page, there is an introduction. And here we can see the structure, what structure we are going to focus on. Yes, it means used to. We are going to implement used to. This game is for the intermediate or upper intermediate level students. And this is a board game, and it can last about 20 or 30 minutes. We should take into account, yes, in order to conduct this kind of game. And for this game, we need a dice in order to cast. As you see, at the beginning of this page, you can see vocabulary, comment, language output. It means what kind of vocabulary our students are going to learn, to review, and it is divided into verbs, nouns. And there is another part, procedures and variations. Here, it just explains all the procedure, all the process of playing this game, yes, or how to play this game. You can read, understand, and you can adapt and change how you want. It's up to you as you are a teacher. Now, let's see. We are casting the dice, and it's number 5. And we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is your favorite childhood memory? And one of the students can answer, for example, my favorite childhood memory is to play outside till late evening. Dear teachers, I want to ask about you. What is your favorite childhood memory? Maybe you can write in the chat box and we'll see. It's interesting to know. So they are casting the dice and they have to answer all these questions. It's a very good activity to enhance our students' speaking skills. I recommend you. Now I'm going to talk about useful links. Let me share. Eating watermelon a lot. Why? I say now you don't eat watermelon a lot. Okay, now I will share the links. Here we go. I think now you can see. First of all, I want to introduce a YouTube channel, English Speeches. It is called English Speeches. In this channel, you can find a lot of videos, and here you can see very famous faces, actors, actresses, politicians, and I'm sure our students are going to love this kind of video to watch it, yes? For example, I can play this video with Hugh Jackman, a very famous actor. I am sure you know him.
You've believed in me when I couldn't.
You've
loved me with a passion and a depth that I didn't even know existed, and I don't think I even felt that I deserved. I'm starting with a quote. It'll make sense in a second. I'd never, ever watched Mr. Rogers' Neighbourhood. I grew up in Australia, didn't even know what Mr. Rogers was all about. I wept like a baby watching that documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbour? And I wrote this down. As I got to this point and I was crying, I was stopping the recording so I could write it down. Mr. Rogers said, and this was at a commencement speech or a graduation speech, I'm not sure which, from the time you were little, people have smiled you into smiling. People have talked you into talking, sung you into singing, loved you into loving. People have helped you all along the way. Some of them may be right here. Some of them may be far away. Some of them may even be in heaven. But deep down, you've always known they wanted what was better. They wanted what was best for you. They've cared about you beyond measure and have encouraged you to be true to the best within you.
As you can see in this video, the speaker not only speaks, but also we can see the subtitles, which will help our students to write down unknown words, to learn new vocabulary. So it is a very good way to improve our students' listening skills, comprehension skills. So I advise you and recommend you to use this kind of activities with your students. Another source that I'm going to introduce is about Learn English through Story. So you can just jump into the playlist list, not videos list, because in the playlist list, you can see It is divided into levels: level 1, level 2, level 3, British accent, American accent. So it's up to you what kind of story you want to pick. First of all, we can see level 2, view full list. I just want to say one thing about this channel. You see, there are a lot of stories, and it is a combination of audiobooks and digital books. Just one thing that I want to mention: members only. You see, there is a written members only. These stories, if you click, it is not going to play because it is not free of charge. But the others, you can use how you want. So let's, for example, click this story, the piano. Now it is loading.
Evans plays list. The words above the door of the theatre were a metre high. On the wall, there was a big picture of Sir Anthony at the piano. Hundreds of people were waiting outside the ticket office. It was Sir Anthony's 80th birthday concert, and everybody wanted a ticket. I had a special ticket because I was a newspaper reporter. I wanted to talk to the famous pianist before his concert. I showed my ticket to the doorman and went into the theatre.
As you can see, it's an audiobook, and also you can read it. It means, I think, and I hope that our students would love it because they like to use their devices or iPods or iPhones or mobile phones. And of course, they can just use this time in order to read an audiobook. Of course, we are going to share these links later. Another source that I want to introduce is about the synonyms and antonyms dictionary. If we type any kind of word, look, let's say helpful. And if we search, it is going to offer us a wide range of synonyms for helpful. And you see, if it is in red box, it means most relevant synonyms. If it is in yellow box, it means it's less relevant. And the synonyms for helpful, we can use such cooperative, crucial, essential. And if we want to find the antonyms for helpful, just we should scroll down a little. And you can see antonyms for helpful, such as disagreeable, hurting, insignificant. If we want to make our lessons more interactive, and if we want to engage our students, especially little ones, because our little students, they like to have lessons such as fairy tale lessons. So we can implement smart notebook program, software program. By the way, this program is an official program for smartboard. I don't know if your school has a smartboard, but it doesn't matter. If it doesn't have, you can just work with a projector. It's up to you because you can work with this program. And let me share one of the examples of the English lesson made by this program. And you see, if we want to review the adjectives, and our student, one of our students should come to the board and take the pen with his or her finger, she or he can circle it, the right answer. Yes, you can circle the right answer and everybody will see it. Or we can click and drag to match the adjective to the face it describes. This is sad. And if it is wrong, it doesn't take. You see, if we want to drag to match this adjective, it doesn't go. Another activity that we can use, so a smart notebook, of course, offers this kind of varieties in order to implement in our lesson, variety way. Okay, now I will stop sharing this part and let me share my presentation, and we are going to know more about the application of Quizlet. So I'm sure maybe some of you have already known about this application. I want to say this application we can use both for desktop and for mobile phone. It's up to you how you can use, how you want to use it. You can sign up or with Google account or Facebook account, or you can just create a new account by filling your birthday, username, active email that you are using, password, and just sign up. After having this application, for example, I'm using on mobile phone, you should click this icon, and then on the homepage, you have to click on the plus button below, and it will open and suggest us 3 sections: create study set, create folder, create class. Of course, first of all, we have to create an activity. That's why we are going to click the first line, create study set. Now we are going to click. And after clicking this section, first of all, we are going to write the name of the subject that we want to implement. For example, synonyms. And this vocabulary I want to give, for example, to my 10th grade pupils, okay? 10th grade. So this is the subject theme, 10th grade. Then I'm going to make cards. First of all, I am going to write the word to wow that my students have already learned. And then we are going to give a definition to promise. By the way, in the definition line, you can just type the translation, Armenian translation. It's up to you, yes, how you are going to implement these flashcards. So old, strange, or unusual. By the way, you can add as many cards as you want. There is no limit. After creating these cards, we have to go up. Yes, we have to go up, and we have to click this tick in order to go forward. And then we have to confirm, okay. Now we are going to select languages for terms and definitions. As you see, I have used only English. That's why I'm going to select only the English language. English for terms and English for definitions. But if definitions are in Armenian, you have to, of course, click Armenian. Then we can confirm it, and now it's ready for using. Yes, we can share this set. We can share this set, and we can share via Messenger, via email. You see, it's via email or via message, how you want. But now we don't need to share. Let's go back. And on the right side, you can see there is a menu button where you can share, edit, or delete this activity, how you want. Now let's go to back and take a look at each section. Flashcards, my favorite one. We can just click the flashcards and play. If we know this word, if the student knows this word, should put this card into the green box. If that student doesn't know, should flip it over and put it into the yellow box. And they can play, practice. I think it's a very good way to practice their vocabulary. And then we can go back and let's click the Learn section. Here we have a skip to learn, skip to learn. So for example, here we have to click the right answer, and then we have to again choose the right answer, to promise, to vow, and then we have to continue. For example, for ancestry, the synonym for ancestry is lineage. To promise, to vow. Strange or unusual, odd. Because our students have already learned this vocabulary. So we can go back and then we can click right section. Here we have to type. To promise means to vow. Ancestry, lineage. Strange, unusual, odd. Now we can click the match button, and here we have to match. It's very interesting. My students love it, love to match, to promise, to wow, and they have to be fast. And the last section that we have to take a look is test, start test. Here we have to click the right answer, true, false. No, of course it's false. Strange, unusual, odd. Ancestry, lineage. It means that the same vocabulary they can practice in different ways. It's a very good way to practice their vocabulary. Now, thank you for your attention, and I hope you liked it. And now we are going to unmute your microphones, and you have a right to talk, dear participants. Who wants to talk can unmute herself or himself and say something.
Good evening.
Good
May
evening.
I share my opinion?
Yes,
Thank you very
please.
much for your very interesting and beneficial lecture. I think in the 21st century, yes, we know that it is century of developed technologies, IT technologies, and each professional teacher must be aware of new technologies and new methods of teaching. Because we should take into consideration that now we have great problem with attention of students, with their interest, and our main purpose is to focus on their interest and to make the process of learning more interesting. I think that now we achieved today with you, we achieved this goal. We became prepared for our new challenges of this century, and thank you very much for this beneficial and useful lecture. We hope that we will have this kind of lectures afterwards, yes, after this lesson again, because we will be waiting for it. So
I'm very glad to hear it. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Of course, we are very happy too that we met this kind of professional lecturer like you. And I had a question. I want us to be provided with the list of these new methods and techniques, books, and etc., etc. So, do we have opportunity for that?
Yeah.
To have a list, yes, because I couldn't manage to write them down, to write the title.
As I said at the beginning of the webinar, you are going to have all these materials. So we are going to send all these materials to your emails that you have already provided in your application form. So there is no worry. So you are going to get, and books in PDF format, you are going to have them.
Oh. Okay. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
I think this much. Thank you.
Who else wants to talk? There's something. If no one wants to talk,
Lusine, can I?
Of course, please, Margarita.
Thank you for your really useful information. Of course, I did some lesson like this, and it is really very useful for me because our students really like to learn with these methods because these methods are more interesting and more effective for them as I use them and I see the results. Thank you for information. I get it, and really was interesting for me. Quizlet. Yes, I use just quiz, but Quizlet I didn't know, so it was really
I hope that after this webinar you will use Quizlet and
yes, really
great. Nice to hear about it.
Really, thank you for your information. I just liked it very much. Thank you.
My pleasure. Other participants who would like to talk?
May I?
Please, Arus. Yes, we are listening to you, dear. I you have some kind of problem with microphone because we cannot listen to you.
Okay, good
Now,
evening.
good evening. Now we can listen to you.
Yes, there are some technical problems.
Yes, we understand.
I just want to thank you, dear Lusine, for the webinar. It was very useful. I just want to say that I will be waiting for the next webinar impatiently.
Great. I will looking forward to make a new webinar. So you are making me think to create another webinar and organize another webinar. Thank you, first of all, to all my participants. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Okay, I think that we can summarize our webinar, today's webinar. As I said, you are going to get all materials. Have a nice weekend, dear participants, and hope to see you soon. Bye.
Thank you very much. We love you.
Thank
We
you.
love you.
Goodbye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you very much.